Hello, this is Heretic Prince. And oh boy, are Puritans having a normal one on Twitter. They had a full mask-off moment when Jules Hardy made a tweet that really revealed their plan that everybody's been warning us about since the beginning. Which is basically, we plan to gatekeep everybody out of everything that they don't like unless they are exactly like us, unless they join the hive mind. Proving that they never really had a problem with gatekeeping. Their only problem with gatekeeping is that they weren't the ones keeping the gate. Now here, Jules Hardy is replying to a tweet by a Twitter account called Black Girl Gaming, which is a very clever name, because now you can't say anything bad about them without sounding like you're saying something bad about an entire demographic instead of a Twitter account, right? I cannot show you that tweet because I got blocked by them whenever I told them that criticism is not harassment. I know, silly me, right? I got involved. It's best to stay on the sideline and laugh. Jules said, "Can we agree that for round 2 of this, it can be the final purge of these kinds of gamers?" It's 2024. I've been arguing about this for decades. Can we have the last full detox of these dudes so we can get back to the positive gaming community we have been creating? Now, there's a lot of choice words in here. Remember, this is typed, not spoken. So this person had time to think of what these words convey. Now, somebody can say, oh, well, don't get pedantic about what words people choose. Well, I'm sorry, but folks like these our woke brothers and sisters came up with terms like microaggressions, where they accuse people of being evil, racist bigots for using common terms of phrase or common words that really had no malice behind them. So the fact that they expect everybody else to pay close attention to what words and terms of phrase they choose means that they must do the same thing. Now, when Jules here says round 2 of this, I'm assuming they mean Gamergate 2, what have you, Electric Boogaloo. I don't know, I consider it just people who shouldn't be in gaming being in gaming and trying to take it over. Because all that they care about is power, taking things away. That's literally all it is. And then when they say the final purge, yikes. Now, of course, by these kind, they mean people that they disagree with, people who don't bend over for them, people who don't prostrate for their emotional whims, people who don't go into a game session expecting it to be a therapy session. Well, gosh, Becky, I'm sorry you don't feel validated today, but can we please slay the fucking dragon? Then she goes on to say, it's 2024. I've been arguing about this for decades. Bullshit. My man, Lord Metal, I think, had the best response to this, which is he said, the old woke invasion of a hobby tactic of, we are lifelong fans of blank before you. Therefore, it's you who are the invaders of blank and are in the wrong. Oh yes, these woke people have always been there. They've always been the fans. And suddenly, us chuds just suddenly showed up and started demanding that the women have nice boobs and tits. Like it wasn't that way in the beginning. I mean, I find it hard to believe that they were always there, always gaming, always being gaming fans. But then suddenly, all out at once, all of them cried out in one voice, having attractive females in games is oppressing us. It hurt their fifis. Just suddenly, all out of the blue. For a bunch of people who seem to be fans of it, they certainly seem to hate it quite a bit. They have a lot of changes to demand. And before somebody starts with something like, oh, well, Star Wars fans really hate Star Wars. Well, you're talking about the Star Wars fans of the movies that were made well. Then you have the new movies that were made for other people who demanded that things change. And well, they got their wish, and now the old Star Wars fans are still fans of the old movies, but they've long abandoned the new stuff, just like Star Wars has abandoned them. And then the last part really intrigues me. Can we have a full detox of these dudes. Okay, so she made sure to say dudes. The reason this word is chosen is to make sure it's understood that she's talking about men, to specifically designate men as the enemy, even though I've seen just as many women complain about this tweet. And then there's the whole get back to the positive gaming community we've been creating. Oh, so you haven't been here the whole time because you're still creating a new community. Whoopsie. No, you're not creating a positive gaming community. I've been part of a woke gaming community, and it was a hellhole. Everyone was constantly afraid to say something that was out of line. Everybody waiting for the queen bee to say what's right and what is wrong, waiting for the queen bee's opinion so that everybody else would know what's okay to say. Now, okay, everybody, the queen bee gave us the correct opinion, so we can all now laugh and joke about opposing opinions. Just now we got the correct opinion. I think the tweeter Gene Gentry had a very good response to what was said here about the whole purging thing. That sounds rather WW2 bad guy of you. The account you're defending has blocked me, a black biracial woman, without even speaking to me. Does that sound fair? You complain about arguing, but are you willing to speak to the other side? I want a conversation. You want a hive mind. And that is perfect. That's exactly what they want. Here's a reply from Melanie Mack that said, AKA, you want to purge real gamers in favor of activists who can't hang in a multiplayer lobby without having a meltdown, or who can't navigate a single player game without yellow paint, shiny ledges, and the character telling them what to do. Jules Hardy replies with, nah. Oh God, she pulled out the nah. Get fucked, Melanie. You've just been wrecked. Debunked. She said nah. Okay, to read it. Nah, I want to purge the hate and vitriol from game. So here we have someone who actively hates gamers saying, I want to purge the hate and vitriol. Well, then get the fuck out. Okay, continuing on. I want to purge the hate and vitriol from gamers who refuse to allow gaming to evolve and adapt as we humans are doing. I have no problem with opposing viewpoints. Oh yes, as we see here. But hate, violence, and aggressive behavior isn't okay in any realm you live within. Well, Jules, unfortunately, you consider any opposition to be aggressive, as we've seen with Sweet Baby Incorporated. Anybody who criticizes them or anybody who refuses to buy their games is harassing them somehow. But again, I'm going to go to a Gene Gentry tweet, because this girl was on fire about it. You want me to evolve into someone like you, who talks of purging those they disagree with? You had plenty of time to think about the wording of your tweets, and yet you post them anyway. If you represent evolution, I will happily remain a cave woman. Well said. I do not consider it to be an evolution to let a hive mind do the thinking for me. The ultimate of human evolution is our intelligence, our ability to critically think, the ability to entertain an idea without accepting it. I don't need a bunch of people who tell me that it's evil to read a book that they disagree with, telling me how to think. I've read a lot of articles I disagree with. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos I disagree with, and I entertain the idea. I think through what they're saying, because maybe they have a point. And then after I think it through, I come to the conclusion, more often than not, that they are incorrect. But I have to actually think about it. I don't get to just say, no, they're evil, fuck them. Just throwing your hands up and saying, oh, those people are evil and everybody should think just like me is not an evolution. It's not. It fucking scares me, the idea that people think that that's where we should go to. Another direct reply to Jules is, once again, Lord Metal Man. He said, you all made up a problem and sold yourselves as the solution to it. Woke ideology has done nothing but bring destruction to everything you touch, pushed for further authoritarian methods, cry-bullied anyone who didn't fall in line, and attempted to destroy people's lives. Now reap. And I read this because I see so many people say that not woke is the same as woke. There's a huge difference. I'm not out here asking for anybody to be blacklisted. I'm not asking for anybody to not ever be able to find a job again. I'm not asking for anybody to not be able to earn and make a way for their families. Woke people will do that shit in a heartbeat. Just going along with some other retweets and replies to what Jules Hardy had to say. Crumbs said, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed BBC gaming presenter would like to talk to you about her final purge to the gaming problem. She says she created gaming and was here first, and you have to leave now. This goes back to the gatekeeping. They act like they're being excluded, which is very disingenuous because they know that gamers love to welcome new people in. They do it all the time. And what they did is they took advantage of the welcoming nature of gamers and then acted like gamers were these villains that were trying to hold them out, or this whole mess started because gamers were entirely too welcoming. For the longest time, the popular people, I remember whenever I was back in high school, gaming was for the nerds, for the undesirables. But hell, whenever the people we knew from high school or the cool guy at work or what have you, we found out that he played World of Warcraft, hey, let's join up. Let's all be part of the same guild. We were just so happy that other people gave a fuck. That us gamers, I'm sorry, I'm going to include myself in that because I've been gaming since Atari. So this lady who thinks that she's been in gaming longer than me can go fuck herself. But for so long, gamers were seen as the nerds that whenever gaming started to hit the mainstream and other people started to do it, I don't know about, I can't speak for everybody, but I, for one, was happy. I was like, man, it's so nice to have other people getting involved in the hobby, and it's not seen as a bad thing anymore, something for losers and dorks. But then once they got in, oh, well, you gamers who upheld the community for so long, who held up the industry for so long, you need to get the fuck out because you're bad people. Why? Because every now and then we say edgy shit to each other? Fuck you. Another really good reply says this person calls for a purge and says they've been creating a positive gaming community. So once again, you just want to get rid of anyone who disagrees with the current narrative. People you deem to be Nazis and bigots. In some grand purge, your communities aren't hecking wholesome and positive. They're the most rancid, hate-filled shitholes imaginable. I'm not going to go far into it. I'm just going to say, if you want to see somebody be really toxic, go to a woke person who's talking about how quote-unquote marginalized people are treated poorly in gaming, and look at how they treat anybody of those communities who disagree. They will flat out use the same quote-unquote slurs that they accuse everybody else of using. And Vera Dark had a reply that actually touched a little bit home for me. She said, "For years, we've been trying to make friends with the very people co-opting our industry. People like you who make it impossible. You want to purge those who disagree with you, who you deem as toxic. But what if we deem you as toxic? You would call that harassment, but it's okay when you do it." I don't even feel like I need to add a comment to that. That is succinct and to the point. If you've ever noticed whenever it comes to the woke and the Puritans, it's hard to argue with them because you cannot use their tactics. You can't say anything back to them. They can call you anything in the world. But once you come back, it's harassment. You're victimizing them. They're marginalized. One final reply I just want to look at real quick is this person, Landlocked, said, "Sorry, we'll be here long after you've gotten bored," To which Jules replied, "I was here before you, so not likely." Well, you see, this is the beautiful thing about capitalism. We've recently seen a small upstart game become massively successful because it gave gamers what they wanted. It didn't preach to them. In fact, the game pretty much makes fun of the whole idea. So yes, Puritans may invade, they might take over. All the games might make men and women androgynous, scared to death that a man might see a woman and like what he sees. And slowly but surely, we'll stop wanting to play them, we'll stop being involved, and then the Puritans will have gaming all to themselves, in which they'll quickly abandon it. But the fact is that somebody will be able to sit down in a computer or on a computer in their garage with a few of their friends and make a game, put it up on Steam, and it'll sell like fucking crazy if it doesn't kowtow to Puritans. It'll sell like crazy, and other people will see that and be like, huh, well, I can do that, and I want to make some of that money. In the end, people like Jules are a self-correcting problem. It sucks that we gotta wait it out, but I think the actual gamers are going to win in the end. I think recently we've shown the industry who it is that buys their products. I mean, what is the gaming industry without the gamers? As much as these people have deluded themselves, Sweet Baby Incorporated have it completely backwards. They think there wouldn't be gamers without a gaming industry. No, there wouldn't be a gaming industry without the gamers. Because whenever it comes down to it, we'll find a way to game. Dungeons and Dragons exist simply by a bunch of gamers figuring out how to game without a gaming system. And in the end, if I have to sit down with my friends with a pen and piece of paper and nothing else to game, so be it. That's what I'll do. Well, that does it for this video, but this is the point in which I ask you, would you like to know more? If so, hit the subscribe button, the bell, so you know next time I want to rant about somebody saying something stupid like this. As always, thank you so much for listening. This is Heretic Prince, signing off.